Strugglers, Comic King here. Welcome back to another Breakdown Beatdown episode, and today we're featuring Private Pile.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn.
He's Big Daddy. Get out! Here, so yeah, thanks for being on the show, dude.
Hello, Strugglers.
You haven't seen him since Oppenheimer, but anyway, I figured having him on the show for the first time, there was no other book that we should do none other than All-Star Batman and Robin, The Boy Wonder by fucking Frank fucking Miller.
The legend.
And, yeah, the legend. And Jim Lee, who is a legend. But yeah, so Struggles, this has been, ever since we became friends, inside joke, and like we got to know each other, and you found I'm a fucking nerd. Like, since being friends, this was like immediately inside joke. Because at that time, I was just really getting into kind of like adult, more mature comic books. And Frank Miller is my favorite comic book writer of all time. Because he wrote Dark Knight Returns, which is my favorite book ever. And it's funny, for someone who wrote the first two, it's, you know, someone who wrote the two best Batman books of all time also wrote the two worst Batman books of all time. I think that's kind of fucking hilarious. But I try to reread every book before talking on the show. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna say I hate this book. Okay, I'll get in a second. But I was just like, what? I mean, it's bad, but it's like, whatever. It'll be fun reading it. Like, it's one of those comics that's so bad, it's great. I'll pick it up and reread it for a show. Dude, I was fucking 4 pages in. I'm like, this book fucking sucks. It's so bad. I just skimmed through it. I can't get myself. Well, look at this. Look, bro. It's got the worst dialogue in all of comics. And look, let me just find a page. Look how much fucking words they cram in. Hold up. There's like one specific panel I'm looking for that's... Look at that!
Oh my god. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
It's on top of that, it's ridiculous, and even worse, the dialogue is it's just awful. It's so bad. And it's like sitting here... Anyway, give context. All-Star Superman, one of the greatest, if not the greatest Superman book of all time. You know, we just had
it as number 2.
It's my second favorite. A lot of people, I'll tell people that it's, objectively to the comic book audience and community, it's the greatest. When it came out, they were basically, that book was launching, like DC was going to do this series called the All-Star series, and they were like, okay, we'll just bring in hella big comic book writers and artists to tell their own story for whatever character they want to do, and we'll keep kind of like, remember how Batman Earth 1, Superman Earth 1?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, except that was successful. That worked. It worked with Superman. It ended up being like one of the greatest books of ever made. They're like, oh, well, who's next? Obviously Batman. You got to go in order. So like, okay, we're gonna do All-Star Batman. We got to get it just off the heels. Batman Hush had just ended with Jim Lee, and he's arguably probably the greatest modern comic book artist of all time. And that book was a huge success. If you've watched my channel, I did a review. I'm not a huge fan of Hush. I think it's overrated, but it's a great beginner Batman book, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, the art in that is insane. He crushed it. Well, they're like, well, we got to get the best Batman artist. And they're like, okay, well, I guess we'll just get Jeff Loeb, who wrote Batman Hush with Jim Lee. And they're like, why would we get Jeff Loeb if we could get arguably the greatest Batman writer of all time, Frank Miller, and that could be it. It's like DC. I was like, did you just forget that like his last Batman story was also one of the worst?
What was his last Batman story?
The Dark Knight Strikes Again, which is
I'm not familiar with
that. Well, yeah. So we'll definitely talk about that. That's probably some of the worst art. Oh my god, it's Frank Miller, later Frank Miller, right? That guy was high on fucking cocaine when he wrote that book. But it's insane. That's the first sequel technically to The Dark Knight Returns. Which it's funny that there's a million sequels in this whole Dark Knight Returns universe to a Batman story that's meant to be the last one. And there's 5 fucking more after it. I hate that. But anyway, the thing is, it's a guilty pleasure universe. Because it's like, it's bad, but it's... Like, looking at this, like, this is a travesty. But it's so much fun because it's just so memorable. Not in a good way, but it's just... It's so crazy. It's like, in a way, I'm glad it happened. Because you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're like, let's bring Frank Miller in. And Frank Miller, what's the story you want to tell? And he's like, I'm going to call it All-Star Batman and Robin, The Boy Wonder, longest, most pointless title ever. And he's like, I want it to be in my own Dark Knight Returns continuity, and it's basically the story of when he gets Dick Grayson Robin. So it's right after year 1, technically. So year 1 is the main Batman origin, right? He did year 1 in 1988, And basically what's cool is that's the main origin, that's the first Batman book in the main Prime continuity. But it's cool because it's like, it's the main book for the Prime continuity, and then it also splits off, it's the main origin point for Frank Miller's continuity, right? That Elseworlds universe. So this happens right after that. And the sequel to Year One in the main continuity is Long Halloween, which is far superior than this. But and yeah, man, okay, where do I even begin? It's crazy because it sucks, but this is, here, you can flip through if you want. This is Jim Lee's best work of his career, in my entire opinion. For a book that sucks this much, this is some of the greatest art I have ever seen. And it tricks you, because it's like, it's like, it looks so awesome, but when you read it, you're like, this is so not awesome. It's amazing. I have a poster from this book, because it's just like, the art is just, it's incredible. But yeah, okay, so anyway, let me get back to the history. So they did All-Star Superman. They're like, okay, I guess Frank Miller, if that's what you want to do, like, yeah, fine, we'll let him do it. It was meant to be a 12-issue limited maxi series. Mm-hmm. It was delayed so much that it never even finished. It got to issue 10. But guess what? For 10 issues, it was the span of 3 years to come out. From 2004 to 2008 or somewhere around there.
So I don't have any context.
Yeah, so usually a 12 issue, usually you have it for a series, usually even ongoing series, yeah, it's offensive. It's about an issue a month. So you look at Batman right now, there's a Batman issue every month, right?
Okay, yeah.
And you take usually, unless it's meant to come out bi-monthly, which is twice a month, usually a maxi series. Like you look at Tom King recently, he's kind of like the current maxi series DC guy. He writes a lot of one and done stories. That are 12 issues. It's a year, so it's an issue a month. It's 1 year. Yeah. This was supposed to be 12 issues over a year. It was 3 fucking years and it never finished. That's how much this was delayed. Isn't that ridiculous? And you wonder, you look at this art and it's so amazing. You're like, no wonder it was delayed, because Jim Lee went all out for a book this bad. I don't know why he did, but it's also, he's been quoted, he's a huge Frank Miller man. And even all the shit Frank Miller wrote, I'm a huge Frank Miller fan, because the guy's a legend. He's kind of, along with Alan Moore, those are the two guys that are solely responsible for changing the comic book industry. Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen, right? Those were the books that kind of redefined comic books. And so yeah, I'm a Frank Miller fan. He's still a legend despite all his flaws. But what's crazy is I think he was so jazzed just to be working with Frank Miller, because Dark Knight Returns I think was Jim Lee's favorite book. It's just if you get to work with Frank Miller, who wrote arguably the greatest Batman story, you're going to be stoked. And so I think that's why he went all out. And it took forever. But also, you read this book, the dialogue's so insane, you wonder if Frank's the one that took longer because he didn't know. You read this book and there's clearly no fucking plot. It's it goes, there is, but it goes nowhere. There's a million things that happen all at once that don't, by the time this book's ended, it doesn't get concluded. It's what? And it's you could just tell that it also, you read the next issue, Frank forgets what happened in the previous issue because they reference it and get it wrong. Okay. And it's just kind of crazy.
So do we know how this was supposed to end? Do we know what the final 2 issues would have been?
No, because I don't even think Frank knows. And honestly, I don't even want to finish, because it's just it's so insane. It's perfect. It is. It would be crazy if they did finish it, but it's just you read this, dude, if you read this, you wouldn't even know how. Because it's just insane. But anyway, I guess we'll dive into it. But I skimmed through this because I couldn't even I'm gonna read you some of this dialogue, and you're just gonna be like, DC, how did you let this go to print?
Well, it's got one of my favorite pieces of dialogue.
Yeah, that's kind of inside joke. We'll get there. So the story starts off, and it's Dick Grayson, because he was with the Flying Grayson, so he's the first Robin, and he's flipping around, and then we cut to Vicky fucking Vale. If you know Vicky Vale, she's she's a reporter, works for the Gotham Gazette in all continuities. Most notably in Batman '89 with Michael Keaton, she's kind of the main love interest. Mm-hmm. And she's in a fucking lingerie bikini, and it's Frank was telling Jimmy go all out, draw. It's man, don't give this to any fucking gooner, because look at this shit. Whoa, I can't believe they're putting this in. I mean, there's been worse, obviously.
It's pretty risque.
Yeah, but it's for a Batman book. It's just why? And basically, she's on the phone. She's like bitching about Superman or something because it's like, oh, Metropolis gets like a Man of Steel, but we get some flying fucking rodent who doesn't like do anything. Like clearly she's not approve of Batman. Like it fucking matters coming from Vicky Vale. But all of a sudden she gets a call, and it's Alfred, and Bruce Wayne's asking her out on a date to the Flying Graysons. The Flying Graysons, Haley Circus is in town, and they go, and she's like, and her internal monologue is crazy because she's like, I'm having a date with Bruce Wayne. I'm having a date with Bruce, and it's clear she's like, I'm gonna fuck Bruce Wayne. But she's trying that. It's just like the art's crazy, and they get in the car, and she's like, I'm having a date with Bruce Wayne. How cool is that? Whatever. We finally cut back. It's a weird interlog. I don't know why it just didn't start with that, but cut back to the Flying Graysons, and Frank wastes no time. Basically, okay, before we get to that, Dick's flying, on the line, and his wire snaps, and everyone's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and then Vicky's like, oh my god, and then Bruce is sitting there. This is the first time we see Bruce in this whole book. He's with Vicky Vale. They're at the circus, and he says, don't worry, darling, this kid knows what he's doing. I've had my eye on him for a while. And you're like, what does that even mean?
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, this bachelor billionaire who's like by himself. I've been looking at this 10-year-old boy forever. Like, I mean, obviously Batman is he's looking from a hair standpoint, but even then, it's like the main continuity. Batman just goes to the circus and then sees Dick's parents die in front of him, and the reason he adopts him is because it like happens in front of him, and he's sitting there, and there's an homage to the death of his parents, and he's just like, that's why he takes him in. But his parents haven't even died yet. And he's like, yeah, I've been looking at him all the time. Like, he's going to recruit him. Like, what? It's just Frank.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting choice of words.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I've had my eye on him for a while. He's something all right. You're like, Frank, shut the fuck up, dude. And he's like, and she's like, huh? What? And it's like, okay, what's crazy is that the dialogue here is insane, but it's so bipolar because, like, the words people are saying are crazy, and then it cuts to their internal monologue, and it's like making fun of what they said. And so it's just, you wonder if Frank realizes what he's writing is fucking trash, and then he's got like some conscience in the back of his head is like, you need to stop doing what you're doing. Anyway, she's like, so why do you have your eye on him, huh? He's like, I've got an eye for talent. You're like, for what though? Yeah. And this is crazy. This is where it's like, I'm just kind of like, the logic in this book, this is where it starts to be like, huh? And it's right off the bat in the first issue, is that, if you're going to if somebody's going to kill trapeze artists, you're just going to cut the line and they'll fall and break their necks. That's just what you do. No, they get sniper shot.
Why?
Exactly. And guess what? It's never answered why they do that. And you find out who killed their parents. Mm-hmm. So in the regular continuity, it was just this mobster, Tony Zuko, who wanted to buy the circus. They said no, and so he just... that makes sense. It's just a regular criminal thing in Gotham, right? I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but when you find out who kills his parents, you're like, what? Why? And it never gets explained.
Interesting.
No, it's not. It sucks. But yeah, they get freaking sniper shot, and you're just like, what? They're standing there, and Bruce is just like, oh, but I know exactly this much. The boy has entered my world, and he'll never leave it. There's no way out. And you're like, oh, like, it's no remorse for like, oh my god, this kid just lost his parents. It's like, no, this kid, finally I have a reason to bring him in as the boy wonder. And it's just like, yeah, and so basically the whole premise of the story is, the Dark Knight Returns, it's in the, it's in the future, it's an alternate take, for a long time in continuity, even though I believe it wasn't the first. So Dark Knight Returns was the first DC comic book to have it released in 4 issues. Mm-hmm. And it had the prestige kind of, how single issues, they're like, they're stapled together, it's like 20 pages.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Each issue in Dark Knight Returns is about 40, 50 pages. But it was the first comic book to have kind of like the prestige format where it's got a spine.
Okay.
But it's a single issue, but it has a spine, right?
Yeah.
And it's technically the first Elseworlds where Gotham by Gaslight, a few years after Dark Knight Returns came out, and that was the first prestige format DC book to have the Elseworlds logo. So technically you could say Gotham by Gaslight's first, but Dark Knight Returns is really the first, in my opinion. And, but anyway, you realize, Batman went out of retirement because, the government was like, that book takes place in the 80s, so a futuristic version of the 80s, so you realize, like, okay, all these heroes in the prime were probably somewhere in the 50s, 60s, right? And so it's like, it's, in the Vietnam, Cold War era, it's kind of like Watchmen a little bit. And so it's like, okay, they do basically a registration act, like Captain America Civil War, and all the heroes have to go the way. Superman ends up working for the government. Hal has to leave the planet. Wonder Woman went back to Themyscira. However, Batman, being the vigilante he is, was like, no.
Yeah.
And so they had to force him out a little bit. Well, you find out is that, like, at that time, in the Dark Knight Returns universe, and for a while, even in the main continuity before Tim Drake came around, because Dark Knight Returns came out before Death in the Family. And so when that came out, it ended up being Elseworlds by default, but, like, for a long time in DC history, that was, like, the last Batman story. So it's like, okay, everything post-Crisis on Infinite Earths leads to that book, right? Mm-hmm. And so Jason was Robin at the time, and Jason, is mentioned there, Jason dies, and that's Dark Knight Returns is the first comic book that has the Robin suit up in the cave. That's so iconic that they put in Batman v Superman. They put in a lot of media, and everyone when that book came out everyone was like, okay, well, what happened to Jason? And so, and then we get Death in the Family about a year or so later, and everyone's like, oh, he died and stuff. So a while was the main in story. I'm going off on a tangent, but anyway, Batman was forced out because Jason died. He was going more hard edge, he's being more gruesome, went to kind of darker time, and then, he's fighting all these probably kids of these parent groups formed because Batman was violent. Anyway, they forced Batman out, right?
Right.
Frank Miller, on top of wanting to do the first Robin story, which is crazy he's doing it this early, but basically, this is where Batman starts acting like a lunatic. So you read Batman Year One, which is also in this universe, and he's like, normal Batman vigilante, figuring out he's Batman, right? Because also at that time, Frank was actually a good fucking writer and knew how to write Batman. And this, he doesn't anymore. And so this is a story where Batman starts to go, like, crazy. And what's cool is the Justice League's in this book.
Interesting. Okay.
And actually, there's a lot of ideas in here that, like, because even in Frank's worst books, he's an artist, like, he's a staple of the comic industry. He has a lot of good ideas. Even if the book sucks, there's cool elements. Like in this, I think it's cool. The Justice League forms to stop Batman.
Really?
Which is actually kind of cool. But then, and they reference stuff from Dark Knight Returns because it's like, oh, you see that thing you like over there? Put it in here because this book sucks. You gotta make people like it anyway. Anyway, long tangent short, his parents are killed. Batman immediately, like, all of a sudden teleports as this guy shoots and leaves the thing. He's Batman and ditches Vicky. He's like beating them up. And then it's just like the cops are like bad. It's just so cliche. The writing's so, it's not good, right? So Vicky Vale goes out there because the cops are like, I guess, corrupt and are like making jokes at Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
And they're picking on him, and Vicky's like, stop, don't like talk to him like that. And then he just punches Vicky. This book is offensive. The way, like, it's crazy. But anyway, Alfred picks her up, and then Batman, they're messing with him, right? Batman shows up out of nowhere. These cops are going to beat up Dick Grayson. A little kid just lost his parents for no fucking reason. And Batman's like, I know these cops will take the boy to the Gulch. I set up my songs. Bats like sonnets. They like them a lot. And it's just like, it's like Frank's trying to make Batman cool. Like, it's ridiculous. But anyway, Vicky Vale is with Alfred. They're following these cops to wherever to take Dick Grayson because they're going to beat him up for some reason. And then Batman shows up out of nowhere in the Batmobile, completely murders all the cops by running them over, hits Vicky Vale with the Batmobile because she was holding on to Dick, grabs Dick after everyone's incapacitated, and he's like, you've just been drafted into a war.
Oh my god.
The cover to issue 2 is the poster I have. Like, it's epic. Like, it's pretty cool.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, but it's so frustrating because it's like I'm looking at the best Batman art I've ever seen, and it's just like, oh my god. Remember when I first tried to pick this up as a kid, I was like, oh, well, maybe it's a guilty pleasure. I'll like it. No,
I remember when you first picked it up and you told me about it.
I was just like, this is the worst
thing ever. Guess what I got?
I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. But yeah, anyway, man, we get Batman. Batman grabs Dick and, like, resuscitates him with sleeping gas.
Oh my gosh.
Like, Batman abducts this child. It's not like the legal, like, in the main continuity, Batman, like, adopts Dick Grayson. Like, it's Bruce Wayne. He doesn't even know he's Batman. Like, Batman just shows up and it basically kidnaps Dick Grayson, an orphan already. He's like, Dick Grayson, aerialist, 12 years old, brave boy, damn strong. Not that he's got a prayer of escaping my grip. He's like, he's strong, very promising. He just might do it. He just might. And you're just like, what? And Batman's just like, he knew that was Alfred's car, and he just demolishes it anyway. And I guess Vicky Vale's got, like, a lot of issues, or, like, is hurt, and Alfred has to step in. And also, Alfred's jacked for no reason. It's just like, what? And Anyway, stupid dialogue later. We basically cut to she faints and takes him to the hospital. And basically, Dick Grayson wakes up in the Batmobile, and basically the next like 5 issues, they're in the Batmobile for the entire time.
Seriously.
I'm not even kidding. And they're just driving around. Because Batman's just like, he's showing off his Batmobile and him kicking, like, destroying all these cars. And he's like, you guess what? You're going to be my ward. You're going to, don't you think what I'm doing is cool? Like, blah, 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 blah. And he's just like, but it'll make a whole lot more sense than that one did. Once I put you through the holy hell, it'll make a hell of a lot more sense what I'm doing. Holy hell, or the next best thing. So sleep tight, punk. Sleep tight, my ward. And Dick's like, oh, what was that? What the hell is Ward? He's like, Batman just looks at him. He's like, shut up. I'll do the talking here. And you're just like, dude, what? Oh my God, dude. Instantly, you're just like, huh? And apparently, I was like a baby at the time. But like, when this book came out, the online discourse was like, everyone was raving on Frank Miller. And apparently, he used, like, people making fun of him and make jokes about it on some forum or something online. And then Frank would basically make fun of the jokes about him or think what he's saying was cool or whatever and add it into the next issue. And so DC was like, you clearly didn't have a story. You're making this up as you go. Like, and it's so clear when you read this. But yeah, man, it's just, it's stupid. So basically Batman's just showing, like, Dick, like, don't you think this is cool? Like, what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And he's traumatizing this little kid. And what's funny is the internal monologue for Batman's just like, oh, what am I doing? Like, I'm traumatizing this kid. He just lost his parents. Like, I need to bring it towards blah, 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 blah. And you're just like, yeah, you think?
Yeah.
And he just is a lunatic. He just doesn't do that. And, like, look at this. He's just like, he's fucking destroying cop cars. It's just like, hit it full out, no ceiling, very good, sir. Because it's got, like, AI Batmobile. He's just like, and Robin's funny because he's making fun of him in his entire monologue. He's like, he's talking to his car. The man talks to his car. How weird is that? And you're like, yeah, it's fucking weird. But yeah, but look at these splash pages, though. Like, it just looks epic.
So I guess this would work on you then. This Batman.
I guess. Well, I heard it was bad, but there's a lot of people out there that, it's like bad movies. There's a lot of bad comic books that people out there that just like, oh, I see what the artist was trying to go for. Like, not that they're trying to defend it, but they liked or like see it like it's like, yeah, it's bad on purpose kind of thing. It's art form. Right. So I was like, oh, maybe it'll be like it. Maybe it's just like, oh, I see what maybe Frank's got a message. No.
It's kind of like how you like Green Lantern.
I guess, yeah. That was a guilty pleasure movie. It doesn't hold up anymore, though, obviously. But what's funny is that's the movie that like got me into the character.
Really?
And then,
well, I thought you said it was Tom King book.
Tom King?
Maybe I'm getting confused.
Well, for Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was like I liked the movie, and then my dad gave me Green Lantern Emerald Dawn.
I'm getting the King lore wrong.
Oh yeah. He's a modern comic. Yeah, this is way before Tom King started writing comics. But he, what's crazy is that like I liked the movie when I got into Green Lantern, and after getting into Green Lantern and watching the movie later, it's like, wait, no, this does suck because it completely messes up everything like in the lore. The space stuff was cool. I think maybe they tried to make that movie too. Anyway, I'm excited for the Lantern TV show because that's going to be hopefully a lot better. But yeah, man, they're just flying around, and you get this like whole. That splash page just with all the dialogue, and it's just like, why do you want to read this?
I don't think I've ever seen a comic book page with that many panels.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Usually the max panels that have been on a page is like 9, but it's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 panels times 2, so that's 32 panels. It's just one splash page.
Yeah.
It's awful. Okay, and we randomly cut, we're on issue 3 now, we randomly cut to a bar. And of all characters Frank decides to do, being Gotham and be kind of like the lady he chases. Not even, Catwoman makes like one appearance in this, but like this should have been her, I guess. But it's like Black Canary, who's got really nothing to do with Batman. Like she's becomes Oliver Queen, Green Arrow's wife. They have the interaction stuff. But it's like why is she in Gotham working? She's at the start of this issue, she's just a random bartender, and she's wearing that, her costume. And it's just like, huh? But it's just like, all men are bad kind of thing. And it's like, I think Frank, like, he thinks it's powerful at this time. It's like having all these women, like, just bash on men and then immediately, as you'll see with Wonder Woman in this book, get, like, dominated. And you're just like, huh? And he thinks, like, yeah, stick it. But, like, romance. You're like, you you clearly don't know what you're doing. Frank, in my opinion, besides Elektra, has never handled female characters all that well in comic books at all. But he's the creator of Elektra. But also, Frank is very much the proprietor. He believes in the idea that, like, Superman shouldn't be with Lois Lane. Like, this guy, like, he shouldn't be with that. He should be with Wonder Woman. Because, like, she's the only woman that can, like, take his Kryptonian fury. And you're just like, shut the fuck up. Get out of here, you know. There's a lot of people who see that. And, like, I guess, like, okay, but, like Superman should be Lois Lane. That's how I like it. You know, not Superman with Wonder Woman. But, like, I guess because, you know, he did that with Daredevil and Batman. But I'm like, yeah, but Superman's not those characters, you know. But anyway, so she just, like, beats him up. And there's this guy that looks a lot like Oliver Queen. And maybe it is, or maybe that's what Frank intended. I don't fucking know. I don't care to reread this thing all the way through to find out. But, like, and she just, like, starts, you know, they're making fun of her. And then she ends up just, like, kicking all their asses. And it's just like, and then she just rides off after beating them all. And this is what's crazy. That there may have been a pair of drunken, drug-soaked sociopaths, those two. But they had fair taste and motorcycles. The Harley's a roaring lion between her legs. Dawn is scarce moments away. It's going to be a beautiful day.
Interesting.
No! that's just like, what the fuck are you doing? But, anyway, we cut back to Batman and Robin, and they're still driving around, and the Batmobile can, like, drive. It, like, turns into a jet, flies around in the sky for a bit. Now it's a submarine, and Batman's talking like a psychopath with this kid. And it's like, you still haven't told me or Robin's like, you still haven't told me what a ward is. And Batman's like, shut up. Dick's like, so what do you call this thing anyway? The Batmobile. And this 12-year-old kid's like, that is totally queer. Batman's like, shut up. Like, it's like, what am I reading, bro? Like, this character has this. Okay, this is when, in my opinion, you know that this shit is completely off the walls. And it cuts to Metropolis. Mm-hmm. It's like, Metropolis, 15 hours ago. Get mine. Batman technically just got Dick. Yeah. Right? Just kidnapped him. He's in the Batmobile. It cuts to Metropolis. 15 hours ago, Superman is in his house. And he's holding a milk carton. The milk carton says, Dick Grayson missing. Richard Grayson, age 12, last seen Gotham City. So Batman and Robin have been driving around in the Batmobile for 15 hours.
That's
it's like, it's like, what? And they already got in the paper too. The Daily Planet's like Batnet. And it's just like, and Superman's just like, ugh, you know, because Frank Miller doesn't know how to fucking write Superman. I think he knows, he's actually, there was an interview with him with Tom King, and he's got a lot of reference for Superman. He wrote Superman Year One that takes place in his Frank Miller continuity. It doesn't even fit his continuity because of the batshit insane in this book, but it doesn't surprise me he'd remember that. And it's just, it's crazy, because it's like, what, you're writing for Superman being a cynical whatever in The Dark Knight Returns. He's not really cynical. He's actually very hopeful. But him being kind of like a government political snob and working for President Reagan in that story, it works for an alternate future. When you go back in the past and show him being kind of like this, it's like, yeah, that's not Superman. Like, and he just thinks Superman's a joke, whatever. But yeah, we finally, after 15 hours of driving in the Batmobile, get to the Batcave, and this is when it's just like, this is insane. Dude. Look at this. They do a splash page of the Batmobile, and it's freaking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-page splash.
Jeez.
But this is the coolest, most epic drawing of Batcave I've ever seen, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is fucking epic. But for Batman, he's only been Batman for like a year at this point. He's been busy.
Yeah.
But it's so cool. When you look at this, it's like, no wonder it took 3 fucking years for 10 issues, not even finishing the series, to come out. And so, yeah, Batman's just like, he keeps asking him, like, every, like, fucking 10 minutes. He's like, pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool? And finally Robin's like, hey, I guess it's okay. I mean, I've seen better, but I guess it's okay. You're like, what have you seen? Like, you're 10 years old. What have you fucking seen? Like, this has got to be the most batshit crazy thing you've ever seen. But he's like, welcome home to Grayson after abducting him. We're like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, we're going to the hospital. Vicky Vale's in the hospital. Alfred's taking care of him. And basically, Alfred calls Batman and be like, yo, Vicky Vale, I don't know how this happened and where you hit her with the Batmobile. Because she was fine, then fainted. But apparently she's not going to make it. She's dying from her wounds like fucking Padme or some shit. And he's like, sir, like, what's going on? Like, they said that the doctor that can help save her's all the way in Paris. Like, what are we going to do? And Batman's like, I got this clown in Metropolis. Go fetch him. Go fetch Clark Kent at the Daily Planet. He'll take care of it. Oh, and tell him Batman considers this a personal favor. And basically, it's like if Batman or if Superman doesn't go, like, run all the way to Gotham, pick up Vicky Vale, take her to Paris, so the doctor can save her. Batman's just gonna reveal his secret identity to the world or something.
Wow.
It's just kind of funny. He's just like, oh yeah, don't take this one to Paris if you don't know how to tell everybody who you are. It's kind of funny. But also, Superman can't fly yet, apparently.
What?
Yeah, apparently he can only... It's harkening back. Frank Miller tries to do something cool. Because for year one, which takes place kind of like in the 80s, I guess what's cool is that, like, yeah, we're in the modern times now. Year one still works, but you could just... I like to think it like, the DC Universe, it's more fantastical than Marvel, right? So it doesn't take place in the real world like Marvel does. Right. So when I look at DC, I'm just kind of like, you look at these cities and it's kind of like what they did with the new Fantastic Four movie where it's like, looks like the 50s and 60s from the trailer, but it's like it's the modern world though. It's just that's how their culture still kind of, the modern. That's why I think of like DC and Gotham, because you look at Batman the Animated Series and clearly that show takes place in modern times when 1992 when it came out. But then there's like 40 style cars, Ford cars, there's TV still black and white. Everyone still wears a trench coat and a hat when they go outside. It's just very different. Like, you get what I'm trying to say. It's stylistic, right? So I guess, Frank, because this book, year one's in the 80s, this looks like all the cars are like old school, like 1940s. Besides Batman's crazy ass fucking Batmobile, but look at these cop cars. If I can find them, I found cars a second ago. But they're like, you get what I'm trying to say. They're like old school. Yeah. 40s. Yeah, look at that. See? Oh, yeah. So I guess at that time, for a long time, when Superman was first created, he could jump really far. Like, leap a tall building, ceiling found. They added flying like later. Okay. So initially, it's kind of cool. Like, oh, okay, but like it still does. It's not cool because it's just in this book, But like Superman's just like, apparently he just like puts her in a car and like, he gets the doctor and brings him to Gotham instead of bringing her. But he just picks the car. It's just like, oh my god, Batman's a fucking.
If he can't fly, how does he get across the sea?
He's just running fast.
Oh,
kind of like the Flash.
Okay.
But yeah, Batman. Apparently, all the cops for some reason are like, not every single one is corrupt or something, and they're trying to hurt Dick or whatever. And I guess there was this cop on shift at the Haley Circus that like knew the guy. I guess his name was Jocko Boy. He knew the guy that killed Dick Grayson's parents. I think Jocko Boy, he didn't die, but like Batman incapacitated him. Yeah, he just incapacitated him for some reason without interrogating him or whatever. And he goes to this cop being like, tell me everything you know of Jocko Boy. It's like, why don't you just talk to Jocko Boy? But that's what the guy's called that killed his parents. Yeah. It's like, who does he work for? Blah, 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 blah. And you're like, oh, I don't know. Anyway, we cut to the Justice League, and basically they're having a meeting, and this is some of the most crazy. When I skimmed through and reread some of this, I was like, I forgot just how bad this is. But Wonder Woman's internal dialogue and the stuff she says is absolutely insane. But basically, Wonder Woman hasn't been out of Themyscira long, and she's, Wonder Woman's a very optimistic character, like loves everybody kind of thing, kind of like Superman, right. Except I think of Wonder Woman, my opinion, is basically Superman, but like with more hard edge. Like Wonder Woman will kill like a bad guy. Like Batman, when she joins the League, in the comics, like tell her like, hey, let's not kill. They bring her down, and she understands. But I guess in this universe, she's like just totally cynical. But she's like 5 hours ago, and it's like Metropolis, the city of dreams, men's dreams. It stinks of men. And she walks past this guy, and it's like, out of my way, sperm bank. Like, what the fuck? It's like, men. This world's cursed of them. They're like, Jesus Christ, dude. Fucking calm down. But yeah, basically she's like talking about how bad men are. It's like, this Batman, he's gonna ruin everything. He's awful. He's gonna ruin everything that we fight for, blah, 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 blah. Basically, we show up, and the Justice League having a meeting. And I guess the founding members of the Justice League in Frank Miller's world is Wonder Woman, Superman, Green Lantern, no Flash, but Plastic Man.
Plastic Man, interesting.
Which I like Plastic Man. I've always thought he was funny, but like it's like what? No Flash? It's like you have Plastic Man over a Flash. It's kind of weird, but basically they're all talking about. They're forming. The Justice League hasn't been properly formed yet, but they all come together because it's like the world, I guess, associates Batman along with the rest of DC's heroes that are around at that time. So like Superman, Wonder Woman, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, hey, he's gone like crazy. He kidnapped his kid. It's making us look bad. We got to form the Justice League to stop him or something. And you're just like, what? And it's kind of... Green Lantern seems like the only normal person. Because like Superman is total, like, he doesn't smile one time in this book. He's, like, very serious. And he's just like, we gotta stop him. He kidnapped a little boy, blah, blah, blah. And Green Lantern's like, okay, how about instead of just going over there and killing him or fighting him, I'll just, like, let's just go talk to him and see what's going on.
Yeah. And
then Plastic Man, being a goofball, is just like, I actually like what Batman's doing. I think he's doing. You're just like, okay, that's funny. And Wonder Woman's just like, shut up. You call yourselves men. And Plastic Man's like, oh, here comes the big blue. Rawr. It's like, shut up. It's like, and she points to Superman, and you call yourself a Superman, knowing to these ants dropping your knees before these earthbound fucking humans. Turn over to the authorities, talk some sense into him, take a vote. You make me sick. And she's looking at all of them, and basically she's just like going off on Superman. Just like, you all men stink, you are all jokes, blah, blah, blah. Superman just loses his cool. He like punches a pillar and makes a shockwave. He's like, damn you, woman! Like, damn you, Diana! And your Amazon arrogance, you don't know anything! Blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, dude, calm down. And it's just like, it's like Frank's just like, doesn't know how to write anybody. And so it's like 1940s, like, you're a woman, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what the fuck? Just calm down. And one of them's like, you bastard, I hate your guts, you make me sick. And Flashman's like, oh, here comes the boom. And she looks at Superman, you make me sick. And then they just start making out. It's just disgusting. It's just like Frank's treatment of these characters. It's also just like, it's so offensive. He's just like, you gotta show. She hates all men. It's like no man is strong enough to be her. That's why she needs a Superman to put her in her place. And you're just like, oh my god. And then she leaves, calls them all idiots one more time. Superman's like, she's like really a really nice girl. And Green Lantern's just like, what the fuck? And then we cut back to Gotham, and he's just Batman's just a straight lunatic. But we get some freaking amazing splash pages.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
And he keeps referring to himself as the goddamn Batman. Because, like we mentioned earlier, back when they were in the Batmobile, Bruce is, I have to, that panel's in one of those freaking long ass, panels. But basically what we're talking about, this was the inside joke between me and him forever. This is like the line that defines this book. And apparently when I can see Frank looking himself like, he's just like probably thought this line was cool, and immediately everyone was like, you're insane. But like, basically Robin's just like, yeah, this Batman, it's like sucks or whatever. Batman looks at Robin, he's just like, are you dense? Are you retarded or something? Because I'm the goddamn Batman. And just like, oh my god. Ever since he says that line, Batman in his internal monologue and every single other character in here refers to him as the goddamn Batman.
Really?
Not just Batman, everybody. But it's only after he says it.
Interesting.
And so Gordon's on the phone with somebody. So it's like, yeah, like the goddamn Batman's out there. And Batman saves this random girl, and she's just like, yeah, because I got the goddamn Batman watching over me. You're just like, what the It's so bad.
Pretty corny.
But it's so, like, you're just like looking at this, and he's got like, I love being Batman. He's like crazy. He's like freaking laughing, like, but it's just so cool. Like, you look, it's just like, God, it's so frustrating because it's like 50% of this book is like a top, like, 10 out of 10, and 50% of this is like negative 10 out of 10, and it's just, oh man, this book is a wonder it got released. But basically, like, Alfred is punching a punching bag, and just like, I hope my master, and he keeps calling, like, I pray my master hasn't got mad, because when he was a boy and his parents were killed, he fled to our cave, found the cave, and like stayed under there and ate rats to survive.
God. And
you're just like, what? Because Batman, when they get to the Batcave... Oh, keep in mind, Robin doesn't know where the fuck he is. He doesn't know Batman's Bruce Wayne. He doesn't know that there's a freaking Wayne Manor, a house above the Batcave.
Right.
So Batman just drops him off and then leaves.
Interesting.
And you're just like, huh? And he's like, I'm hungry. And he's just like, the food will present itself. And a fucking rat like crawls out. And it's like, what the fuck? And he leaves. And so like Alfred's from the shadows. He like there's this disembodied voice from the part of the cave and like puts out a cheeseburger or something for Robin. And basically Robin's in trouble. He's like, man, this Batman ate rats for some reason. Like I'm not gonna let him put this kid through the same thing. He's going crazy. And like, yeah, no, Frank Miller's going fucking crazy, not Batman. And then we get this whole weird subplot where basically every person Batman saved is like Batman, or the goddamn Batman, sorry. The goddamn Batman is like inspiring people to take up vigilantism. And so like Black Canary's inspired by Batman or something and wants to be a vigilante. But she's already wearing a costume and she just drives out and starts like fighting people, and Batman and her running into each other. And also, this is so cool. So this was a variant cover. Or this was, I think, issue... It was a variant cover for one of the issues for The Dark Knight Returns. That poster Barbara Gordon's got on her wall. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you know Batman Year One. Mm-hmm. You know that Commissioner Gordon makes a very human mistake, but he cheats on his wife while pregnant with his son in that book. Mm-hmm. With Sarah Essen, who was his partner. And that's a big... Because I argue Batman Year One is a... Yeah, it's a Batman book, but in my opinion, it's a Jim Gordon book. Like Jim Gordon's more of the main character than Batman. It's narrated between both of them. And like the anime movie's amazing. They get freaking Bryan Cranston to voice him, and it's just like, it's peak. But like, it's fantastic writing. That book's really, really good. But he cheats on his wife with his partner, and he knows it's wrong, and he ends up, being the man and, confronts her, and they go through a really rough patch, right? And basically, his son gets kidnapped because Commissioner Loeb, who's the commissioner at the time, is corrupt, working for the Falcones, and, it's the whole climax of that book. Well, he made a mistake, but they're going through a rough patch, but, they, in the main continuity, they work through it. Because, the next, 10 books, after Post Year One is talking about that. So you get the Long Halloween, and, they're living happy. They're doing great. They get through it. And I can't remember if, because everyone writes, depending on what continuity you're in or whatever, I think they split up eventually, or she dies. Because I know, or maybe she doesn't die, but I think at some point him and Sarah Essence get back together. But anyway, I think it's Sarah Essence who dies in No Man's Land. The Joker kills her. But, and in The Dark Knight Returns, he winds up with Sarah Essence. Because that's his wife in that book. Yeah. And so you're like, okay, and Dark Knight Returns came out before Year One. So, it's kind of when people read Year One, oh, there's the chick from Dark Knight Returns. Anyway. But, I guess, but technically that's Elseworlds now, so it's whatever, but that's my ending. And I think Barbara ends up leaving him in the comics anyway, or she dies. They don't live, they're not together long post Batman Year 4 or something like that, right? Yeah. Anyway, but they work it out for the next few years that they're together. Well, and for Frank Miller's universe, they're not working it out. And Gordon keeps talking to Sarah after she left and transferred, and basically Barbara's drinking herself to death. And it's just it's just horrifying what's happening to this family. It's like, Jesus Christ, Frank, it's just fucked up. And it's just the writing's so bad, because he's just talking to her in front of his wife, drinking wife. And I don't know where their son is, and also, strugglers, put this in the comments, I'm not sure, I don't know, I think Barbara Gordon is the daughter between, it doesn't make sense within the continuity, because it's there's no Barbara, Barbara is his first wife's name, right? But then there's Barbara Gordon, his daughter, who becomes Batgirl, an Oracle.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, and so I don't know if Barbara is the daughter of him and Sarah, or the daughter of him and other Barbara, but there's no James Gordon Jr. in this book, and she's already a teenager, so maybe this is from a previous marriage or something. I don't fucking know. It doesn't make any sense, but Frank doesn't know his own continuity, but whatever. She's around, and she's also inspired by Batman and, becomes Batgirl. Serves no fucking point in the story. Nothing in this book serves a fucking point in this story. But anyway, we cut then to Vicky Vale. I guess she's doing better, and all of a sudden Jimmy Olsen out of nowhere shows up, and I guess they work together. He works in Metropolis at the Daily Planet, and you're like, huh? And, basically, he brings a letter from Bruce Wayne. Or Bruce Wayne sent all that flowers. She's like, oh, he does care about me. I was like, clearly not. He hit you with his fucking car. Yeah. But anyway, we cut back to Black Canary. This book just jumps all over the place. It's insane.
Yeah.
And she's like being a vigilante, finding random guys, and the Batman shows up. He's like, oh man, you're like fucking hot. Because Batman's trying to look for the guy who killed Dick's parents, and he's just going around just fighting a bunch of random dudes, and he's even like beating up cops and shit. And it literally, like, I would dive into deep more what he's doing, but it does not fucking matter because, like, it serves nothing. And I think literally, like, the book, he's just running around doing random shit. And all of a sudden, he's like, he meets up, him and Black Canary team up, and they're starting to fight a bunch of people because they're going on Black Canary. And then all of a sudden, just like, they both kick all these guys' ass. They don't even know each other, they've never met, and they're like, oh, you're fucking hot. And they just start making out. Consider yourself told. He's like, it's like, her tongue's a little bit sandy. She's a smoker. Cigars. Cuban. I haven't kissed a smoker in weeks. Not since Selena. I guess Batgirl. And you're just like, what the fuck? And then this is where it's insane. They go to a rooftop. And he's like, we keep our masks on. It's better that way. And they fuck. In their costume. And then a lightning bolt flashes by.
Yeah.
And they're done. He's like, need to ride home? And this random freeze yourself to death on that Harley. What? You got a car? You're the goddamn Batman, and you need yourself a goddamn car. And he's just like, sir, I can't like fucking fly or nothing. Like, goddamn woman, fuck. And then they start arguing with me. He's like, you call it the Batmobile? It's like, that word, one word. I've taken enough grief about calling my goddamn car the goddamn Batman. I'm the goddamn Batman. I can call my goddamn car whatever the hell I want to call it. And she's like, whatever, man. And he said, like, goddamn, like 5 fucking times. And you're just like, what the hell? And they make, so this lightning flashes. And you're just like, okay, maybe that's passing of time. Or maybe, like, Batman, like, finishes prematurely or something. I don't fucking know. Because he's a fucking loser in this book. Like, a man-child.
This reminds me of Killing Joke.
Oh, my God. Don't ever. You know what's funny? Marley, we were talking earlier today, because she hasn't seen a lot of the earlier DC movies, so we've just been...
Yeah.
She loves Superman. She's like, oh, I watched that. I just showed her, like, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. She's never seen it. You know, watched the first Wonder Woman Justice League. Anyway, and she watched Peacemaker, so she's watching, going back, watch all that stuff, and she watched, just because HBO recommended it to her, she never heard of it. You know, she watched Batman the Killing Joke.
Oh,
she's
gosh.
like, Hunter, I don't know if you like this movie, but I watched Batman Killing Joke. It fucking sucked. I'm like, yup. It does. You should. I was like, you should. She's like, it recommended me, but it sucked. I'm like, well, you should have come and asked me first, because I would have told you not to watch that movie instead to read the freaking book. Yeah, that's also bad. Dude.
That was a tough movie.
But yeah, he's back in the car or whatever. Just gives her a ride to who knows where, because you don't fucking see her again.
Oh,
and it's like, why is she in this book? What? She's not even a Batman character. It's like, okay. At least do like not Black, at least do like Huntress or something, because she's related to the Bat family, but it's just like random, I don't fucking know, Frank, it's crazy. But yeah, they just fucking on the rooftop, like keep the masks on. Anyway, we go back, Batman got the guy who like killed his parents, and he's like, Robin's got an axe, and Batman's not gonna step in, he's like, you're either gonna like choose to kill him or not, and blah 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 blah. And so he like, and he does, he doesn't kill him, obviously, he just beats the crap out of him. Batman's like, yes, like, decent start, kid. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is so unhealthy. And anyway, you find out that the person, he was just a gunner, a front man to murder them. The guy who hired him to kill these random trapeze artists for no reason is the Joker. And you're like, what? Why? Because Frank can't write a Batman story without having the Joker. I'm not even kidding. Joker's not in here one. His name dropped in the last panel of the book. Mm-hmm. And they thought that scene, I mean, it's an amazing fucking page when Gordon's having that internal monologue and him and Batman are friends. And it just started like, okay, now, it's the ending scene of Batman Begins.
Yeah.
And that's where they pull it from. They're like, oh, it's crazy. It's like, it's really, really cool. And they play that off. Every single Batman book he's written since, he's had to include the Joker for some reason. And it's like, what? And I like to think, like, Joker, Frank Miller's interpretation of Joker, he's like, is kind of the opposite of Alan Moore's interpretation. Because Dark Knight Returns in year one, Dark Knight Returns and Killing Joke came out like 2 years apart.
Yeah.
And, they're both phenomenal, but like, Joker's obviously crazy in The Dark Knight Returns, but Frank Miller sees him more as like, he's the devil, he's evil. He's a bad guy, he's like evil.
Right.
When Alan Moore's like, he's crazy. He's not evil, he's just crazy. I mean, I don't know. Dark Knight Returns, he's crazy too. But it's just kind of, you read his Frank Miller's later stuff, and Joker's just like, he's basically like the devil. He's just like evil. And he doesn't really act like a lunatic. He's just like a calculating blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, that's not the Joker, really. Mm-hmm. You know? I don't know. What do you think? Is he like more crazy or evil?
I don't know. I mean, it kind of depends on what you watch, because
he's kind of,
if you watch Dark Knight, he's insane. He becomes more calculating in the Dark Knight. He tries not to come off as calculating.
Yeah, well, I guess I said that wrong. Joker's always, he's a
schemer.
Well, he's the Batman for the DC villain pantheon. Because he's insane, but he's also like, got his own, ideas and plans and countermeasures and stuff. So Scott Snyder's Justice League run, there's a really cool issue where, Batman has all these contingencies for the Justice League. Joker's on the Legion of Doom, and Lex fires him because he's a loose cannon. Like, the Joker doesn't like to go, he likes to do his own thing. And so it's just like, Lex is like, yeah, you're on the team, you've been helping us, but I don't trust you because I feel like you could just all of a sudden change your mind and just kill all of us because you're the Joker, just because you're not. And he fires them, and Joker, dismantles the entire Legion of Doom using just tactics and stuff. And goes to Luthor's like, I'm going to leave, but just know if you ever double cross me again, I can fucking kill all of you. I'm like, I like that he's kind of like the Batman of the villains, but yeah, I guess he's always got his plans, and for insane he's smart, and you're right, he's calculative, but I mean he's both, because it's he's insane, but he does evil shit. I mean,
yeah, you have to get the right mixture down.
Yeah, but anyway, it's crazy because as awful as this book is, it's also very. I mean, just because the art alone, not the writing, but the imagery and art alone from this book is super influential. Especially you look at the Snyderverse, Joker having all them tattoos and shit. It's from this book.
Yeah, I was about to say that kind of reminds me of Jared Leto's Joker.
Yeah. Now they totally. Maybe that's why that he sucks, the Joker.
Could be
because they pulled it off from a book that fucking sucks. I don't know. I'm just joking, but he's got tattoos and he's Joker basically is just talking to himself. He just finished banging this lawyer for some reason that knows he's the Joker. You're like, huh? And he's serious. He's not smiling for some reason. And he basically just kills her and for no reason or whatever. And he walks out and here's Swasta Tits from Dark Knight Returns as a henchman. He's like, get rid of it. He serves no point. It's Frank's just I have to have the Joker in here somehow. And he killed him. And guess what? You never find out why he killed him. Yeah. Maybe, I guess you could say it's because he's the Joker. He's random. Maybe he was doing wanting to build something up for Batman.
That's why we need the last 2 issues.
Yeah.
Release the Miller cut.
You know what's crazy is the 10th issue is not even in this collection.
Oh, really?
Because the 10th issue got, it came out, it was delayed by an entire year.
Oh,
wow. The series took a whole whopping 3 to 4 years to come out anyway, but the last year was just between issue 9 and 10. And they made this collection before that last issue came out, because they're just Jesus Christ, I guess we'll just collect it. But I'm glad they don't include that, because even though nothing in here gets concluded, really, it's got, the last page is okay, you could see this as an ending.
Okay.
Where the next issue deals with, basically Batgirl running around. And it's whatever. And basically the last panel of that book is, Barbara keeps telling him throughout this book that, you should, I know, your wife right now, my mom is, an alcoholic and drinking herself to death, and you destroyed their marriage, and you're not helping at all to, help fix it up. But obviously Sarah makes you happy. You should go call and talk to her. Gosh. And you're like, holy fuck. I'm glad in that. I mean, it's all bad anyway, but at least in here, it's a better, it makes, for what we've seen so far, it kind of, for this combobulated book, it makes sense what they do in issue 9. I guess. I don't fucking know. Okay, so, basically Batman just throws Jocko Boy in the river, and he's tied him up, and so he's obviously going to drown and die. Batman just, leaves him there for dead. It's Batman isn't a straight-up murderer. He's going off the crazy deep end. Oh, yeah, and you know how, okay, so you know how the Justice League we're talking...
Yeah.
About, okay, we're forming up to go stop. We don't see the rest of Justice League anymore, and Green Lantern basically is okay, I'm gonna go talk to him. And it's cool. So we get Robin's kind of trying to pick out his costume, and he's he sees a bow and arrow, and he's call me Hood. My dad always making me watch some old movie about Robin Hood. That's why I became an archer. So call me the Hood. And Batman's Hood, huh? Do you know what any thug thug with half a brain would do with that hood. He just fucking like does that, and it's kind of funny because I do like that moment because it's Frank showing that like any vigilante that has a hood, it will not work.
Right.
It's just kind of funny, but he just lose the hood, you're Robin or whatever. But anyway, before then, we get Green Lantern like shines his symbol in the sky, and Batman goes in because he's in Gotham, and the way it's Hal Jordan, and Frank has him. He's like just a Batman's internal monologues. I can't believe they sent this guy. Like of all the league, I hate him even more than Superman. It's like why? He hasn't even done anything. He's just like that ring. It's the most powerful weapon in the universe. Do you know the things I can do with that ring? He doesn't deserve it. I do. And you're like, Jesus, calm down. Like, dude, he's sitting there eating a hot dog. But anyway, Batman shows up and he's like, "What do you want, Jordan? How the heck do you know my name? I know everything. What do you want? Where are you? I'm everywhere and nowhere. What do you want? You're darn persistent. Yeah, I get a lot of complaints about that." He's like, "What do you want, Jordan?" And then finally he like reveals himself. How Jordan's like, "Yeah, you suck," or whatever. And Batman's just like calling him like, "Oh, you're a moron, blah, 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 what a creep. Meet me at this building and we'll talk about what you're going to do to me." You're just like, huh? And Green Lantern doesn't even get a chance to be like, "Yo, bro, like, calm down. Like, I just came here to talk." Like, Green Lantern doesn't even get any fucking word off. And then we cut to Catwoman. First time we see her in the book. She's just laying on a bed somewhere, I guess. And Joker shows up. And he's like, "It's nothing like that." So, or like, what Catwoman say? He's just like, "Oh, so it's you. Get lost. I've heard rumors on how you handle women. Even I don't play it that rough." Sorry, I'm struggling to read the struggles. That's how bad the dialogue is. It's fucking impossible to read. It's like, "It's nothing like that, Selena. I'm just up to some mischief, and I wonder if you care to join me. So keep talking, Joker man. I'm all ears. Do you see what they do? No."
It ends?
Yeah. He shows up to ask her to, like, "You want to get involved in some plan?" And I'm like, "Yeah." You don't see it. Apparently in the last issue, you don't see Joker again, but Catwoman shows up, I guess, to the Batcave or Batman's house, like, all beat up. So, like, Joker asked her, like, to join some evil plan just to beat her up and then not do that. It's like, huh? It's just like, and Frank doesn't even know what he's doing. And typically, I don't really, when we're talking on Breakdown Beatdown, I don't, like, read every single line. I know I'm reading a lot, but, like, I wanted to read it just because that's how insane this dialogue is. I just want to read it to you. It's crazy. But, like, yeah, the covers in here, it's just, like, the art is just so good, man. I know I've said that a million times, but it's great. Now, this is the issue that everyone... The imagery in this issue is actually iconic. Like, it's a lot. It's used a lot everywhere. And this is the issue where, like, no, see, Frank's actually, like a masterful writer. Like, this issue's actually great. This is where it kicks off. And I'm like, no, you're wrong. Wow. It's stupid. Because basically this whole issue is like, basically like Batman faces off against Green Lantern. He shows up to a warehouse. So, pre-Emerald Twilight, I've probably told you that, you know, I'm being big Green Lantern guy, you know, Hal Jordan, you know, became a bad guy for a long time, became Parallax. Remember, like, do you remember me talking about that? Yeah. He kills the whole Corps and stuff. Well, before that, Green Lantern's always had, for years, you know, like 30 years in the comics, he's always had a weakness to yellow. Yeah. So he can't use his Green Lantern energy on anything that's colored yellow. And it's cool because it's like, yeah, that's really stupid. But, you know, Jeff Johns being like, writing the greatest Green Lantern run of all time, and I think the best comic book retcon ever. Retcons that, like, well, Parallax, the Fear Demon. I'm not going to get into that's a whole another story, another video, but, you know, the Parallax, the Fear Demon, the cosmic entity, was imprisoned in the power battery that the Green Lanterns derive their energy from. And he's yellow, and the color of fear in the DC universe is yellow. Yeah. So that's why they can't. Because after Jeff Johns brings back the Corps and brings back everybody, redeems Hal Jordan, they don't have that weakness anymore. But anyway, this is like old school. So like Frank Miller remembers from the old days when he was reading comic books that Green Lantern had a weakness to yellow. So Batman makes a weird house, and within an hour, paints the entire apartment yellow, and paints themselves yellow. Him and Robin. And you're like, what? Like, how did you... That's gonna... Like, you do that, that'd kill you. Like, paint your whole body, unless it's Wayne Tech paint or some shit. I don't know. They don't address it. But anyway, it's ridiculous. And this is the issue where everyone's like, no, that's actually, like, really cool. Like, what Batman's doing, he's, like, doing his tactics and stuff. I'm like, no, it's not cool, because the dialogue sucks. They're taunting Green Lantern. And Green Lantern immediately is like, you know, I was sent here to be, like, just kind of talk to you, because you kidnapping... I don't know if you did, but I know you kidnapped Dick Grayson. And basically, it's funny because, like, Robin's there, and it's the first time he's actually Robin in the costume. And he's just like, that's Dick Grayson, isn't it? And Batman's like, no, what makes you say that? He's just like, you kidnapped the kid. It was in the papers. It was all over the news. Stop lying to me. Like, that's fucking Dick. And he's this gaslight. No, that's not, maybe, I don't know how kept up you get with the papers, but apparently he, like, in the span of, like, apparently yesterday, they had a press conference, and Dick Grayson just showed up and like, no, I was saved by Batman. I wasn't kidnapped. Batman's actually a cool guy. And you're just like, huh? First off, Dick Grayson has been missing for however long. If he showed up, press authorities would have immediately came in and taken him. It's like, what? Doesn't make any sense. But Batman's like, yeah, no, he's actually, that's not Dick Grayson. It's my ward. It's another kid. And you're like, okay. He's just like, yeah, but like the parent, this is where they reference like the parent groups from like Dark Knight Returns. Like, yeah, the parent groups, the mafia, everybody's after you. You're pushing this too far. The government's after you. You're starting to kill people for some reason. I thought you didn't kill. Like, the Justice League wants to come in here and take you out. I'm just trying to talk to you and be like, hey, just like knock it off, man. Batman's just being a total prick. He's just like, why the hell do you think I dress up like a goddamn bat? I want to scare the crap out of people. They got all you bromides, I don't know what Frank's trying to say, out there to reassure them that the world's a nice, safe place. So I leave it to you and your posse to mix it up with all those bug-eyed monsters. Me, I hunt down the street-level vermin, rapists, murderers, thieves, like that. Like that, I have to scare them. And just like, that's why I do what I do. And you're like, dude, God. And Green Lantern is like, I feel like he's in this book is like Frank Miller's conscience, like his back conscience. He's just like, no, like, stop writing this way. This is not Batman. He's a fucking lunatic. And basically, Jordan gets fed up with this, and Batman's being a dick, so they start like fighting. Like, you son of a bitch, like, you're gonna get us all killed. The government's gonna come after us here. It's your fault. You're being a lunatic, so they're gonna get rid of us all. And it's like Green Lantern doesn't even use his ring. It's like,
well, everything's yellow.
Well, everything's yellow, but it's also just what I mean by is that like you can just fly away. Like you're like the next level after Superman on the Power Scope. Like the government ain't gonna fucking kill you. Like whatever. And anyway, this is when he's like gaslighting. Like Bruce is like gaslighting. Like Hal. He's like, excuse me. He's like, you kidnapped a 12-year-old boy in flagrant violation of the law, dress him up as a teen psychic? You're out of your mind. And Robin's like, what a rube, because he's been corrupted by Batman's lunacy. Now Robin's a lunatic or whatever. And Batman's like, excuse me, I'm not sure I get you, Hal. And Robin's like, he's a rube. Oh, come on. You're trying to tell me that boy is not Dick Grayson? That's exactly what I'm telling you. This is not Dick Grayson. What planet have you been on, Hal? I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then this is when they do the paper scheme. And he's like, I don't buy it. You're trying to confuse me, damn it. And he like leaves. And then it turns out that Robin snuck off his ring. And like Hal's like, what? He loses his shit. He like goes after Robin. He gives the ring to Batman. And then Robin starts like beating him up. And Batman's like, ha, look at his training. I'm so proud. And he's just beating up this guy, this defenseless dude. He did nothing to Robin. And all of a sudden, Batman's like, he scares me a little bit. Like he's getting a little rough. And he dives in and crushes Hal Jordan's larynx or his trachea or whatever. He crushes his trachea, and he's like, Batman's like, what? And this is where it's like, oh my god, Batman grabs Robin, slams him against the wall, doesn't even says what he did, and then just like punches the fuck. This kid's like 10, and this grown ass adult beating the shit out of this little kid. You're like, what the fuck, man? He's like, yeah, he basically crushed his chair. He's gonna have to perform an operation on him. And this is when he reveals to Robin that like he's Dick Grayson. This is when he finds out. You're like, what? And it's been Dick Grayson the whole time. And I guess they save Jordan. They call an ambulance, and basically Robin thinks Batman's frustrated. They're kind of going around, and they have this internal monologue. And Robin's trying to remain tough, and Batman is like, what have I done to this kid? Like I've corrupted him. I didn't give him time to grieve. I gotta give him that. And he like takes him to I guess there was already a Grayson funeral. And they already had gravestones, even though that happened like a day ago.
Yeah.
And they basically like leave more lives lost and like they hug. And that's the fucking end of the book. Wow.
That's
great, right? No,
that's like I don't know if I.
It's like
he's like Homelander level unhinged.
Yes. Exactly.
It doesn't
Batman
make really sense.
No,
there's so much. Yeah. There's so much going on.
Maybe Frank was like trying to tie it in. Like he's like, no, see, they got it was all Batman's fault that Justice League had to like be dismantled, like that they outlawed heroes and vigilantes because Batman just became a lunatic, and like, don't you see he's crazy? And you're just like,
well, but like you compared that to like Dark Knight Returns. Like,
yeah,
this is just off the walls.
He's like shitting on his own work, and it's like. It's like, yeah, it's like, don't you think, like, isn't it cool that I'm retying it back into the greatest Batman story ever that I wrote? Don't you think it's cool I'm including all these elements? It's like, no, bro, it's not cool.
Yeah.
What you're doing, he's like, because I guarantee when he was writing that book, he thought, like, I'm coming up with something masterful. And it's just like, I think he got cancer, or, I might be wrong, because Frank Miller, he, like, aged really bad, because he got sick or something. He got really skinny and frail. He's still around, like he's doing good. But I think he got cancer or got sick or something. He went through a divorce around this time, and you can just see in his work in the comics, like the late 90s, around the time Dark Knight Strikes Again came out. You could just see like the immediately like shift in his work. It was like good, and then all of a sudden like, whoa, what's going on? Because I guess we'll definitely cover it on the show at one point, but I got to talk a little bit about Dark Knight Strikes Again. So, I think it was 1999. Anyway, since Dark Knight Returns came out, broke records. One of the if not the greatest comic book ever written. DC was like, "Yo, Frank, are you gonna do a sequel?" Because even DC was like, they want a sequel. Because it's like you look at movie studios, even movies that are not meant to be. They're gonna make sequels at some point. Or reboot or whatever. That's just how companies are, right? And so, like, for years, I guess he tried to come up with something, and then finally, Frank was like, I have something to say with Dark Knight Strikes Again. And that book is awful. His art completely changes, and he was still with his wife. His wife was a colorist, and Lynn Varley was his wife, and was a colorist, and is a phenomenal comic book colorist. She was the colorist for Dark Knight Returns, the original Dark Knight Returns. Oh, really? But I guess there was some, like, neon... That's when digital art, or digital, like, meaning ways of, like, drawing stuff was coming around, things were starting to get a little experimental within the comic book industry. And so she's like, I want to try this new kind of color art form. Yeah. I wish I had the books at the storage, I wish I had it here, I'd show you. But it does not mix... It's just... The art's insane, because, like, Frank's... Because he's a comic book writer and an artist, like, he completely did all Dark Knight Returns, and his art just went complete downhill. It's got its own style now, and in certain books, it's like, you can't help but love it, because it's like so frank, Yeah. That style kind of became like Sin City a little bit. Some later books he did that was good. What's another one? 300 looked a lot like that. Okay. 300's amazing, and 300 only came out a few years before Dark Knight Strikes Again, and that's fantastic, but like, just with those colors, the art looked awful. I need to move on, but it looked awful. But at least that book, as bad as it was, there's also insane dialogue stuff in there. Batman does some crazy stuff. It's bonkers. That's when you see the Justice League for the first time within that world, because for some reason Frank was like, I want to do single Dark Knight Returns, but I want the Justice League to be involved or whatever. Huh. But at least when he did that book, he had something to say, because there was a clear message and point to his story that Frank is trying to tell you. It's like an anti-terrorism kind of thing. What's crazy, though, is he wrote the first 2 issues, then 9/11 happened. Oh, wow. And then the last issue was delayed, came out a year after the second issue, and he incorporated elements from 9/11, and it's just like, oh my god. And the book completely changed into whatever. But at least he had something to say with that book, right? Sure. He's got nothing to say. Like, what is he trying to say with this book, exactly? It's like, they asked him to do it. He clearly didn't have a story plan out before he started writing. Because the first issue, it has some crazy moments, but it's like, okay. Like, it reads okay. It's not, like, insanely bad yet. We're just like, okay, let me see where he's going. And it's clearly he didn't have anything... I don't know. I think there's a rumor that Jim Lee had to give him notes or something or whatever. But it's just, there's no message with that book. It's nuts. But, yeah. Yeah, that's it, man. It's crazy. I'm trying to think what else. But yeah, Dark Knight Strikes Again was insane, and then he did like a million sequels after that, and yeah, it's crazy. I'm like, I hate, like, I love looking through it time to time because it looks so awesome, but just don't read it. Yeah, it's so bad. So there's a crazy thing apparently. Speaking of Tom King, he was a kind of up and coming DC comic star the last 10 years. When he first hopped on Batman, I did not like his Batman run. Now I like it. I appreciate it. There's good stories within his run. As a run overall, I still think it's okay. Yeah. But I didn't read any other of his works or books because I just hated his Batman so much. But he became. He's an amazing. I take it back everything I said about you, Tom. But he's got a lot of amazing books. I just don't particularly like the way he writes Batman. But he's written some of my favorite comic books of all time. Well, apparently there was a rumor, I think around 10 years ago or something, they wanted Tom to finish this book. Come up with an ending. It's why even try? It should be left alone, cemented in time. It just kind of boggles my mind that DC would want to try to attempt to finish that.
It's an unfinished story.
It's unfinished, but it's unfinished 20 years old now.
Yeah, but it's probably got some kind of cult following that people who would read it.
Oh yeah, well the cult following is it's like The Room. It's so bad it's good. I'll say it's so bad it's good.
Well, if they did finish it, would you pick up the copies?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I would want to see what happened. That would be pretty cool. They'll never do that though. Well, I guess never say that. You never know. But maybe if Frank Miller, when he passes away, they to honor him, we'll finish your magnum opus for you.
Oh god.
The real magnum opus. But yeah, man, let me know if you want to borrow it and read it. It's fun. I feel like Mitchell missed out on a good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, thanks for being on the show, man.
Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah,
it's always a pleasure.
It was fun. We had to talk about this book because it's been an inside joke with us. Notorious. I think it's just so ironic that the guy who wrote the 2 greatest Batman books of all time wrote the 2 worst. But at least this over Dark Knight Strikes Again. It's fun to look at. Because you look at Dark Knight Strikes Again and it's fucking vomit on a page. The art is so fucking bad. There's cool drawings in there. Honestly, if that book came out in black and white and it didn't have all the colors, it would have looked cooler. But what's crazy about that book is The Dark Knight Returns, Lynn Varley was responsible for adding a lot of the background in that book. So it feels like you're in a world, you're in a comic. Gotham feels Gotham sees its own character, right?
Yeah.
Where you look at, there's it's just figures doing whatever, and behind them it's just colors. And Dark Knight Strikes Again, you're like, what? But anyway, that's a view from the day. We'll definitely have to do that book. But all right, strugglers, that is All-Star Batman and Robin, The Boy Wonder. I'll put a link to the trade paperback in the description box if you dare to pick this fucking up.
8 out of 10.
Yeah, fucking 11 out of 10. This book's a fucking masterpiece. Oh my god. It'll be cemented it is cemented in history. But yeah, if you want it, I'll put a link. But yeah, strugglers, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with another Breakdown episode very soon. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, keep reading, and get the pop. Ah!